What's up YouTube team, it's 709 here on the No Limit YouTube channel for this week's Deck Doctor segment. This week we're going to be covering Joao or Gimes Darklord deck. I don't really know how to pronounce that name, so sorry if I butchered that. Obviously the actual spelling will be in the video's title and all that other crap, so I mean, you know. But yeah, we're going to be covering Darklords this week. Not really one of the most competitive archetypes in the game, let alone something that sees much of, if any play really. But it's always been a really cool archetype, something that I personally have wished for to actually be a good deck at some point, but it has just not done anything yet, or probably ever will, sadly. But it's still something good to consider if you want to have like a change of pace and don't want to play completely seriously in this game. Something to kind of bring back that little bit of fun factor. So that's partly why I'm covering this. There were a lot of changes to this because I've been messing around with Darklords as of like the last day or so. Checking PMs and seeing, oh, well, which deck am I going to cover this week. This one kind of interested me. I tested out the original build, which we'll get to in a second. And then what we did in the fixed build, it kind of just started playing a lot more smoothly. So there's a lot of changes. So I'm going to try and keep my reasoning behind them a little bit brief. So just kind of bear with me on that because there's a lot of changes. Into his build, we have 1 BLS, 2 Asmodeus, 3 Superbia, and 3 Darklord Zerato. We have 2 Darklord Creators, 3 Athenas, 3 Raiden Lightsworn Assailants, and 3 Hecatrice. We also have 2 Card Troopers for monsters. Spells, we have 3 Trade-ins, 1 Monster Gate, 1 Dark Hole, 2 Reasoning, 1 Foolish Burial, 3 Valhalla, and 2 Symbol of Heritage. Traps, we have 2 Trapstone and 3 Call the Haunted. Extra deck, we have 1 Hot Red Dragon Archfiend is the English name, so we'll go with that. 1 Angel of Zera, 1 Stardust Spark Dragon, 1 Black Rose Dragon, 1 Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, 1 number 107 Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon, 1 Heretic Sun Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis, 1 Giant or Coach King Giant Trainer, I guess is the English name. 2 Divine Dragon Knight Felgran, 1 Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosac, 1 Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger, 1 Constellar Omega, 1 Silent Honor Arc, and 1 Evil Swarm Excite Knight. So yeah, that's the initial build. So let's just get into the fixed build. So yeah, starting off with monsters, we have 3 Darklord Asmodeus, 3 Darklord Superbia, 2 Darklord Zerato, 3 Archlord Christia, 1 Master Hyperion, 2 Hecatrice, 3 Curry Bandit, and 3 Herald of Orange Light. Spells, we have 1 Allure of Darkness, 3 Trade-ins, 2 Soul Charge, 3 Upstart Goblin, 2 Valhalla, and 1 Mausoleum of the Emperor. Traps, we have 2 Trap Stuns, 3 Breakthrough Skills, and 3 Call the Haunted. Extra deck, we have 2 Leo, Keeper of the Sacred Tree, 2 number 22 Zombie Stein, 2 number 62 Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon, 1 number 107 Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon, 1 Heliopolis, we'll just go with that, short and shit. 1 number 40 Gimmet Puppet of Strings, 3 Divine Dragon Knight Felgrans, 2 Alcei the Sylvan High Protector, and 1 number 15 Gimmet Puppet Giant Grinder. So yeah. So I'm just gonna run down the list of everything that we dropped as well as what we added, and then like anything that I feel like I need to explain, we're going to explain. So as for things that we dropped the BLS, one of the Darklord Zeratos, the 2 Dark Creators, the 3 Athenas, the 3 Raiden, 1 Hecatrice, and 2 Card Trooper. Those are the things that we dropped for the monsters. Spells, we dropped the Monster Gate, the Dark Hole, the 2 Reasoning, the Foolish, and 1 of the Valhallas, as well as the 2 Symbol of Heritage. And that was everything from the main decks that we dropped. Extra deck, we dropped 1 Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, 1 Angel of Zera, 1 Stardust Spark Dragon, 1 Black Rose Dragon, 1 Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, 1 Coach King Giant Trainer, 1 Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosac, 1 Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger, 1 Constellar Omega, 1 Silent Honor Arc, and 1 Evil Swarm Excite Knight. So things that we added a third Asmodeus. It's a 3k beat stick, and if you're going to be special summoning things, it's a good card to have. Not to mention that if you need Superbia in the graveyard, it's a really good card for doing that. As well as in the fixed build, you can dump Christia, and then you can call the Haunted that or Soul Charge it back. So it's kind of a good way of just getting something that puts pressure on your opponent, as well as, you know, just being an overall beat stick. We added the 3 Christias. I don't know if I really need to explain this card. It's just overall really good. Stop special summons all day, every day. Hyperion, something that I want to explain. The next thing I want to explain as well is Curry Bandit. We added 3 of those. We added the 3 Herald of Orange Lights, and that's all we added for monsters. Spells, we added in 1 Allure of Darkness, 2 Soul Charge, 3 Upstart, and 1 Mausoleum. And then traps, we added in 3 Breakthrough. Extra deck, we added in 2 Leo, 2 Zombie Stein, 2 Prime Photon Dragons, 1 Gimmick Puppet of Strings, a 3rd Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand, 2 Alcei, the Sylvan High Protector, and the Giant Grinder. So I think the easiest thing that I can start off by explaining is the Neo Galaxy Eyes. Neo Galaxy Eyes is a 4500 beat stick that requires 3 level 8s. Prime Photon Dragon is a card that was just recently released in the TCG, and this means you don't have to base everything off of OCG because you technically have Raiden, which is considered an OCG only card at the moment. So this also helps bring it towards TCG only at the moment. Well, not TCG only, just in general, because I think that everything here is also available now in the OCG thanks to them getting Dragons of Legend, which is a different name in Japan, not that it matters. Prime Photon Dragon is 500 less attack than Galaxy or the Neo Galaxy Eyes, and on top of that, it has pretty good abilities. It can increase its attack by detaching material once per battle, and it gains attack equal to the combined ranks of all Xyz monsters currently on the field times 200. It's already a rank 8, so it gains, I think, like 1600 if my math is not completely stupid, because I just woke up like not even an hour ago. So, I mean, bear with me on that. So, I mean, there's that. It says also, if this card is destroyed by your opponent's card effect when it has a Galaxy Eyes Photon on it, which you're never going to have anyways, you can special summon it or whatever, but yeah, in any battle damage you inflict to your opponent is halved, unless you have the Photon Dragon as a material, which doesn't really matter. You're still a 4000 beat stick that gets over pretty much everything in the game, so can't really complain about that. So I'm just going to start with things that I dropped, I guess. Darklord, or the Dark Creator, kind of a card that's iffy in my opinion. It requires you to have like no monsters basically on board, as well as having your graveyard completely and perfectly set up, and I just don't like having to rely on something like that. So basically, in favor of it, we've added in a few other things. Namely things like Soul Charge, stuff like that, to help get your monsters on board. You don't really want to rely on something like the Dark Creator, especially when there are better options. And again, Soul Charge is a better option. You're already playing Valhallas, and I added in Mausoleum to help make sure you have a monster on board. Let's see here, we dropped the Darklord, or one of the Darklord Zerados. Zerado is a mere 2800 and it blows up things, yes, but it also nukes itself during the end of the turn if you do that. Like I said, adding in the Asmodeus over one of the Darklord Zerados was ideal. 3k beat stick that helps set up your graveyard, as well as, you know, just kind of just says, hey, have fun trying to get over me. Zerado is a little easier to get over, or at least crash into. I'm sure you can think of various 2800 beat sticks that can kind of just ram into it and get it off the board. Excuse me. Or something even bigger than that, you know, just runs it over. So, I mean, at least with Asmodeus being a 3k beat stick, it's a little easier to kind of keep on board. Athena, originally when I tried playing Darklords for the first time when they got their reprint, I really wanted to play Athena just because tributing off of Superbia, bringing back the same Superbia, and then using its effect to bring back something like Zerado, and then going for OTK with it or something, that was kind of a cool play that the deck had, but it wasn't worth it. So Athena, like, outside of being able to do something like that, it was basically just, you know, OTK, whatever. Okay, the next thing out of the main deck that I want to explain is the Symbol of Heritage. Again, that requires a lot of, like, graveyard setup, and there was not a lot of that outside of the Raiden and the Card Troopers. And even then, you're only milling a very few amount of cards. So, I mean, symbol of heritage, being able to kind of have that graveyard set up. It was just kind of, you know, situational, I guess is a good way to put it. Soul Charge is kind of something similar to that, but better. So, I mean, that's kind of a thing. I guess I can explain the Raiden and the Card Troopers. We replaced those with these furry, little critters. Curry Bandit is just an amazing card for this deck. In playtesting, I've sent things like Superbia, Christia, and a few other things, as well as grabbing things like Call the Haunted, Soul Charge, draw engine cards like the Trade-ins Dealer, or if I really needed to, or if it was the only other thing that got milled, Upstart is the thing. It gets you to the Mausoleum if you have to dig enough for it, things like that. It's just overall good for grabbing key spell and trap cards while setting up your graveyard for your Superbia play. So I mean, there's that. I added in 3 Herald of Orange Light for extra negation. I mean, we already have the Breakthrough. Breakthrough is just good for multi-use, but there's also the fact that Herald of Orange also helps set up your graveyard for Superbia. It also helps set up the graveyard for Soul Charge, as well as Call the Haunted. Just an overall really good card. Hyperion's a card that I'm sure a few people might question. It is a level 8 fairy that you can banish a light monster in your graveyard to, blow up a card on your field. Excuse my chair. So, I mean, it's kind of just good for doing that. It's kind of like a free Dark Arm, I guess is a good way to put it. I think I've covered all the monsters that I've added. Spells, I added in Allure, 2 Soul Charge, 3 Upstart, and Mausoleum. I guess the only thing out of here I really need to explain is just the Mausoleum. Mausoleum and Soul Charge are both very life point hefty costs, or strains, I guess, on the game for you. Having them very, very late game is very bad, which is part of the reason why you have the Upstarts in here, as well as, having already trade-ins and Allure. Being able to get into it as fast as possible so you can get your board set up is kind of ideal. Dragging out the game too long makes it a little harder to keep your board, and then you just end up losing. That's at least how I've seen things through my own personal experience by playing the deck. So, I mean, that's partly why Mausoleum is just an overall good card, and why you're playing Upstarts and stuff as well. The only thing I added to the traps was breakthroughs. They're just overall like one of the best forms of negation right now. Being able to use it more than once, being able to chain it to things, similarly to, of course, Herald of Orange Light, but with no cost to it. So I mean, if you don't have another fairy in hand or something, or if you don't want to discard or something for whatever reason, Breakthrough is another option that you can use. So I mean, I really don't know if I need to explain Breakthrough all that much either. Extra deck, I'm going to try and cover this really fast because we're almost at the 15-minute mark, and I try to end it around there if, possible. Leos, you're playing these. Level 2 tuner with any of your level 8s, as long as, Christie is either being negated or if you happen to have any of these out. Really good card. The opponent can't target it. Deep Prison is actually becoming very, very good right now because of the hands, as well as a few other things here and there, of course. So Leo's just kind of that card that says, hey, you can't target me, etc., etc. Zombie Stein is another form of negation. You can detach materials and 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to target 1 face-up monster, or 1 face-up card your opponent controls. Change this card to defense position if you do negate it. So I mean, and it's also a quick effect, so you can just be like, no, I'm negating that. I don't need to explain this. I already did that. So hooray. You already had these two. Gimmick Puppet of Strings, another 3k beat stick if you need it, and it's also good for potentially blowing up cards. So I mean, there's that. Felgrand, basically the best rank 8 in the entire game, protecting itself or anything else that you have monster wise from being, blown to smithereens. Then you have Alcei. I'm kind of surprised that this wasn't considered initially, just because it's like, okay, I can declare a name, whatever, detach, and then, if I declare the card right, of course, you get to add it to your hand. If not, it goes to your graveyard, and you can, detach, that's for free. You detach the material to target a card on the field and place it on top of the deck or the bottom of the deck, wherever you choose to put it. So, I mean, you can either put a terrible card on your opponent's field on top of their deck, you can return and exceed to their deck, things like that. And then we added in Giant Trainer to help blow up, a special summon monster, and if it was an exceed, you can do, you know, effect damage, which is obviously good. Not to mention it's a 2500 wall, so I mean, it's not like it's a, you know, its booty isn't as big as, I'll say, we'll put it that way, but it's still got decent defense, as well as the fact that it can do damage and blow up special summon monsters at the same time. So yeah, I don't know if I really need to explain much else. Curry Bandit's such an amazing card for this deck. I mean, I obviously knew that you were playing mill options in the form of Raiden and Card Trooper. Curry Bandit's just really good in place of those because you can add Soul Charge, you can add draw, like if you need draw power, you can add that. If you need the Call of the Haunted, you can add that. Things like that. So yeah, Soul Charge is absolutely disgusting for Darklords, by the way. Being able to just pay like 2,000, bring back 2 Superbias, and then get 2 more monsters back is kind of stupid. It's basically paying 2 for 4 instead of paying 4 for 4, things like that. It's just absolutely stupid. So I mean, yeah, I don't know if I really need to explain anything else. If you enjoyed the build, be sure to give the video a like. If you would like to have your deck featured in a future, you know, video, then be sure to message it here on the No Limit YouTube channel, and hopefully we can get to it in the upcoming weeks. And yeah, I do hope the fixed build works for Joao Gimes. I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering the hell out of that, but I do hope it works for you. I hope it works for anyone else that decides to try it. And yeah, if you haven't already, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. And until next time, this is Team 709 signing out.